What if I told you that the werewolves of medieval Europe looked a lot different from the werewolves Dogmen sightings of today? In fact, they were very different but equally terrifying. So let's go down memory lane and do a comparison. So werewolf of medieval times literally means a male human and a wolf in combined in one word, werewolf, depending on what country you're from. The traditional werewolf of medieval times was a man who could transform into a wolf. Now, this was done by different means. There was a few cases where people convicted of being a werewolf, because this was a similar thing to being a witch. Back then, you could be tried and executed for being a werewolf. But a lot of them claimed that they were sought out by a man, a mysterious man on a horse, and some described them as the devil. And this man on the horse would give them a wolf skin or a wolf pelt, which allegedly was magic and could if they put this on, they would transform into a wolf. They would not transform into a 7-foot bipedal wolf, aka Dogman. They would transform into an actual wolf, not the 7-foot bipedal werewolves that people have today. But that's not what it was back in the medieval times. These were humans that allegedly transformed into wolves and would terrorize towns or villages. They would kill people. They would eat them. Some believe that people ate them whilst wearing these wolf skins or wolf pelts without even transforming into a proper wolf, which leads to the term lycanthrope. That's another term for werewolf. But as tradition medieval law, these men would transform, or not just men, women as well, would use a pelt to transform into a wolf. And then people in towns or villages would be found mutilated, eaten, cannibalized, and then the suspected werewolf would be tried and convicted, and in most cases executed. And not just the individual's family would also be executed as well, some even skinned alive. Now, there's a famous case from France, I think in the 15th century, of a 15-year-old boy, John Pierre. I have seen a documentary about this. He wasn't sentenced to death. He was sent to a monastery, and he died a few years later. He wasn't very well. He was very malnourished. So now we fast forward to, say, the last 150 years. Now we have people that claim to see these upright 6 to 8 foot tall bipedal werewolf dogman-like creatures on 2 legs. So what changed? What happened? Are they the same entity? Is it the same process? Have they simply evolved? Or are they 2 different creatures altogether? So is the werewolves of medieval Europe folklore a completely different thing or entity than the werewolf dogman-like sightings of today? Because obviously, if you follow my channel, you know that a lot of people have dogman werewolf-like sightings. I've covered a few at Cannock Chase. There's some in East Yorkshire, Bridlington, many places, and that's got me thinking: are they the same? Have they just evolved? So, are they people who transform into this, 7-foot tall dogman-like werewolf-like creature, or are they a creature of their own? Are they an entity? Are the bipedal tall dogman-like creatures a creature of their own? Are they a cryptid of itself? Are they different from the werewolves of medieval times? Are the werewolves of medieval times more a supernatural entity, a curse, a spell, that transforms, that shapeshifts someone into an actual wolf, not a massive bipedal, half man, half wolf creature. And then in comparison to the 7-foot bipedal dogman-like creatures of today, are they two completely different types of cryptids or entities, or have they simply evolved? However, either way, they are as equally terrifying. I mean, especially if one saw a transformation back in the medieval times, which I'm not sure if anyone actually saw someone transform into the werewolf or the wolf. If so, I find that would be the most striking part before getting attacked. Obviously, being attacked and eaten by someone who transformed into a wolf would be the most terrifying part. But yeah, so medieval Europe, werewolves were people, mostly men, that transformed into an actual wolf by using a wolf skin or wolf pelt, would kill people, eat people, and then get convicted and be sentenced to death. Nowadays, people have sightings of tall bipedal, half dog, half wolf man-like creatures that are tall on hind legs, and in a lot of cases are quite stocky and built as well. Are they the same entity? Have they just evolved? Is there a similar process? Is there a person within these modern werewolf dogman-like sightings, or are they strictly cryptids of their own? Are they a completely different entity of the werewolves of medieval Europe? So yeah, that's it. That's what I wanted to touch upon today. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's not a very long one, but yeah, do you think werewolves of medieval Europe are a completely different entity than the werewolf dogman-like sightings of today? Or are they the same and they've just evolved? Or are they a cryptid in their own? Are the modern day werewolves dogman cryptids of their own in comparison to the ones of the past? Anyway, as ever, stay safe, and if you enjoyed this video, I have videos on actual sightings and accounts that people have had in the UK of seeing these the tall, upright dogman werewolf-like creatures, and people see these things. You might think this is mad and far-fetched if you've not watched my channel, or you don't follow this phenomena, but people see these things. Whether the flesh and blood real or the paranormal, who knows? That's why it's the unexplained. Anyway, as ever, stay safe.